Before getting my hands on the Redmi Note 17 series, I honestly wasn't expecting too much. Over the past couple of years, budget phones have become a lot less exciting. With the rising components costs, many manufacturers have started cutting corners somewhere, whether it's their processor, the display, the build quality, or the overall experience. And unfortunately, the Redmi Note 17 series is no exception. So let me give you my conclusion first. This is probably the most disappointing Redmi Note series I've reviewed so far. And honestly, I think Redmi itself is probably facing some pressure right now. There are simply too many product lines competing with each other, a Turbo series, K series, Note series, and so on. Sometimes these phones overlap so much that it's getting harder to understand who exactly they are made for. Anyway, in this video, let's take a quick look at the Redmi Note 17 Pro, and I'll tell you exactly why I feel this way. 8 gigs of RAM plus 128 gigs of ROM. 8 gigs. Oh, what a year are we in? 2015. But one thing I admire is, even in this, in this price, they still give you the full package, like including everything. They even give you a phone case, a silicone one, non-transparent, comes with better quality, and some usual things, a SIM card ejector, and now under that we have the phone itself. I ordered this black version for the Pro. Wow, not bad, right? I didn't expect like the build quality this good, and then they offer the 67 watts charger and also a Type-C to Type-A cable, and that's basically everything. Redmi Note 17, same thing as before. Then they'll have this 45 watts of charger and a cable. Actually not bad. That's the unboxing. When it comes to the design and the build quality of the Note 17 series, this is probably the one area we actually have some positive things to say. Previous Note series phones usually come with a large single camera module, but this time Redmi moved everything to the top left corner. The camera rings are arranged vertically, sitting on top of the glass camera island with metal rings around each lens. Personally, I think this looks much cleaner and more premium compared with previous generations. And the interesting thing is, even though this is still a budget phone, it doesn't really feel cheap in the hand. The frame has slightly curved edges, which makes it much more comfortable to hold compared with completely flat-edged phones that can feel sharp after extended use. Of course, this is one obvious trade-off here, the weight. The standard Note 17 weighs 225 grams, while the Note 17 Pro weighs 226 grams, so basically both phones are quite heavy, but once you know what's inside, you might actually understand why. The standard Note 17 comes with an 8000 mAh battery and 45 fast charging, while the Note 17 Pro upgrades that to a massive 9000 mAh battery and 67 watts fast charging. So compared with the standard model, the Pro version gives you an extra 1000 mAh capacity and noticeably faster charging. But the big upgrade is actually durability. The Note 17 Pro supports IP66, IP68, IP69, and IP69K ratings. In simple terms, the phone is designed to handle almost every water-related situation, from rain and splashes to being submerged, high-pressure cold water jets, and even high-temperature water jets. Honestly, this is probably the feature I appreciate the most. Meanwhile, the standard Note 17 only comes with IP65 protection, which is basically everyday splash resistance. It can handle rain or accidental water splashes, but don't treat it like a waterproof phone and leave it underwater for a long time. Now, let's talk about performance. The Note 17 Pro is powered by the Snapdragon 6S Gen 4, and to set expectations clearly, this is not a flagship level chip. It's positioned as an entry-level mid-range processor, roughly around the Snapdragon 778G or Snapdragon 780G level. In my testing, it scores around 860,000 points on AnTuTu, which is a significant improvement compared with previous entry-level Snapdragon chips. But what about the standard Note 17? It used the Snapdragon 4 Gen 4, scoring around 620,000 points on Antutu, so honestly, neither of these phones is designed to be a performance monster. For basic tasks like messaging, watching videos, and scrolling social media, they're fine when they're new. But if you expect smooth gaming, heavy multitasking, or long-term performance after years of use, I wouldn't put too much hope here. Redmi claims up to 60 months of smooth experience optimization, but personally, I still have some doubts about how much difference it can really make with this level of hardware. These two phones are not trying to compete with gaming phones. The goal is to be reliable daily devices that balance battery life, durability, and basic everyday use. And for that purpose, the performance is acceptable, especially for older users or people who mainly use the phones for simple tasks. Another interesting feature is the 4-link AI anti-fraud system. A global version will include the same feature, but in China, this is clearly designed with elderly users in mind. It may not be something you use every day, but having extra protection is definitely better than having nothing. Now, let's talk about the cameras. The camera setup is actually one of the biggest differences between the Note 17 Pro and the standard Note 17. The Redmi Note 17 Pro comes with a 50-megapixel main camera with OIS, paired with a depth sensor. Meanwhile, the standard Redmi Note 17 also uses a 50-megapixel main camera, but without optical image stabilization, and you can clearly see the difference. The Note 17 Pro produces more stable footage, especially when recording while walking. The standard Note 17, on the other hand, suffers from noticeable shaking, and honestly, the video quality is pretty disappointing. Oh shit, only like 1080 30, not even 1080 60, jeez. Portrait, okay, let me just... For photos, both phones are basically good enough for basic daily use. And here are some sample shots. Yeah, not exactly impressive, right? At this point, these cameras are probably better for scanning QR codes, taking quick snapshots, not much more. So after testing both the Redmi Note 17 and Note 17 Pro, what do I think? Honestly, I think this is one of the weakest Note series updates in recent years. But that doesn't mean these phones are completely bad. Redmi actually improved some very practical things. The build quality is better, the battery life is impressive, and the Note 17 Pro especially offers excellent durability with its IP69K protection. But at the same time, there are too many compromises. The performance is only average, especially on the standard Note 17. The cameras are disappointing, and compared with the previous Redmi Note phones that always feel like flagship killers at a lower price, this generation doesn't really give me that same excitement. So, who are these phones actually made for? Honestly, I think they're not really designed for enthusiasts who care about gaming performance, camera quality, or benchmark scores. They are made for people who simply want a reliable phone that works. For example, your parents or older family members who don't play demanding games, but need a phone with a huge battery, a durable body, a big screen, and extra protection against scams. They're also suitable for people who don't want to charge the phone every single day, or anyone who just wants a practical second phone that can survive years of daily use. Between the two, the Note 17 Pro is definitely the one I'd recommend. The bigger battery, stronger protection, better display, and more powerful processor make it a much more complete device. The standard Note 17 only makes sense if you are trying to save as much money as possible and your usage is very basic. But if you already own a Redmi Note phone from the last few generations, I just don't see a very strong reason to upgrade. Redmi used to be the brand that surprised people by giving you more than expected. With the Note 17 series, I think the focus has shifted. It's no longer about being the most exciting phone in the market. It's more about being a safe, reliable, and practical choice for everyday users. Thanks for watching. I'm Sami. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.